Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. So this is all a rumour. I'll just say straight from the top, this is a rumour. It is leaks from The Rise of Skywalker, and although it's unconfirmed, okay, as it is, you know, rumour and leaks, there's a lot of validity behind it, because the same individual that leaked all of the previous information, and I'm not talking about YouTubers, okay, that's not who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the group, the whatever menace. Alright, I'm talking about a fairly reputable leaker over on Reddit by the name of Jedi Paxis. Now, again, let's take away all the names of this nonsense, because of course it makes everything sound completely delegitimate and like a whole bunch of bellends. But this person has been right. So whatever name, moniker they choose to use, and whatever place they choose to put these leaks, they have actually been proven to be right, with elements that have been seen in the trailers. So, all of that out the way, hopefully you'll understand why I'm covering it. Now, this leak is very long. This will be a relatively longish video, and it essentially breaks down the entirety of the film, beat for beat. Now, off the back end of that, if you don't want potential spoilers for a movie which I don't think anyone really cares about anyway now, who watches my videos anyway, just click off the video. But there will be some spoilers ahead, so you've been warned. Now let's get into it, okay? A brand new alleged Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker leaks have surfaced on Reddit from user Jedi Paxis. Now again, it's really important to note, remove the stupid bloody names that people, you know, have and where they choose to put these leaks. Remove all of that. They've been proven to be right before. There's elements which they leaked months ago, which were then confirmed after months with trailers. Okay, so super important. Now, Jedi Paxis previously unveiled a number of details about the film in lengthy leaks over the past few months. Jedi Paxis claims that they were contacted by a new source with details about the film. Apparently, Jedi Paxis has then obviously gone on and explained that he vetted this information with various other sources and confirmed that this new source that he has is speaking the truth. So, again, that's, you know, what you do have to do when you have sources. You have to kind of cross-reference these for journalistic integrity. Now, Jedi Paxis does detail that most of this information mirrors his previous breakdown of the film. However, following reshoots and edits, there are added information, which he has obviously provided the details on. Now, it does appear that obviously just breaks down essentially the most of the bloody film. So, if you're ready for most of the film, let's get into it, shall we? So, the film opens with Kylo Ren slaughtering natives in the red-lit woods in order to obtain Darth Vader's Wayfinder. Now, this footage is seen in the trailers. It's something which we have already seen. There was thought to be, it's thought to be like a fight between almost, you know, the Knights of Ren and stuff like that, but no, it's just him slaughtering people, natives in a woods. Now, Ren discovers the Wayfinder, which is a pyramid-shaped object, and he then hooks this into his TIE fighter. That allows him to travel to Exegol. Now, in order to get to Exegol, he travels through a red nebula-like section of space, and this is seen in recent TV spots. So again, a lot of people will double down on this and just say, well, this is just, you know, taking 2 and 2 and making 4, right? A bit of fan fiction here and there and stuff we've seen. Maybe, but elements of what Jedi Paxis has said in the past has proven to be true, hence the coverage of it. Now, obviously, the stuff which we see in the TV spots is what the Resistance ships are seen in later in the movie. Now, after arriving on Exegol, Kylo Ren discovers what appears to be a science lab. He then hears Palpatine's voice, who claims that he made Snoke and that he's been orchestrating everything from the shadows. And again, FYI, because there'll be loads of people in the comments going, they're not so stupid, this sounds like bad fan fiction. Ladies and gents, The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens, when written down, looks like bad fan fiction. Alright, so before you jump to this, stop giving Disney credit, okay? Because the other movies read like bad fan fiction anyway. And it's amazing the consistency of studios pissing up, but everyone's quick to try to, you know, remove validation and give them validation and stuff. It's like, why? So Jedi Paxis then describes what Palpatine looks like in this scene. With regards to Palpatine's initial appearance, there is flashes of lightning which reveals Palpatine's face, but with white eyes attached by his back to some vertical metal arm leading to something that we don't see. Now there's some interesting points about this because the British broadcasting, like the verification system, the BBFC I think it is, in the UK, which is the board for film classification, they've actually noted specifically that the Rise of Skywalker will feature horror elements such as someone's melted face. Now that's an official thing. It's not something which is argued with. That's literally an official description by the British Board of Film Classification. Very, very important, and it does tend to lean itself to validating some of this. Now Palpatine then details his creation of a large armada and orders Kylo Ren to locate Rey. Kylo believes, obviously, that the order is to kill Rey, ha ha ha, of course, but Palpatine warns him, "She is not what you think she is." The film... I'm not going to do it again. The film will then cut to the ice asteroid base, and we see Poe, Finn, and Chewie on the Millennium Falcon playing holochess. There's some nostalgia and humour in this scene with Poe and Finn insinuating that Chewbacca cheats. However, Poe then points out it's because Chewbacca has much more experience than them. Then, when Chewbacca goes to check on something, Poe and Finn turn off the game because they're losing. Poe and Finn receive a satchel from an informant and attempt to discover who the mole is. But the informant stays mum, so obviously they kind of press the informant. Now, there is a scene where Rey is training on a jungle base. Jedi Pax's source does not recall any training where she attempts to communicate with past Jedi, which there was some kind of rumours of stuff like that. Rumours of Anakin Skywalker and stuff like that returning. But again, the British broadcasting, the British Board for Film Classification has only announced certain people appearing in this film. Ian McDiarmid is one of them. It doesn't look like Anakin Skywalker, I forget his bloody name, will even appear in this now, which could be true. They might have just cut him out with all the reshoots. Now apparently she does get frustrated during her training. She chops down a few trees with a lightsaber, and one of the trees falls and even damages BB-8. Fine, who cares? No one gives a toss about BB-8. Finn and Poe arrive on the jungle base in the Millennium Falcon and meet up with Rey. However, the Falcon is on fire due to something called lightspeed skipping. Rey apparently is not pleased with Poe for setting the ship on fire. Fuck you, Rey. It's not your ship. Okay, what? Now, apparently, the source details that the combined might of Kylo Ren's First Order and Palpatine's forces are called the Final Order. How original. The League also indicates that Luke Skywalker apparently wasn't just hiding away in exile, but had been attempting to find Exegol, but was unable to locate a wayfinder to get there. Which sounds like something that they would do, because it's a retcon. It's like, oh, you didn't like that Luke just kind of, pansied out and lived in exile? Well, here you go. Here's what he was really up to. That is literally textbook JJ. It is textbook retcon. I can genuinely believe that. The League also notes that Rose Tico is relegated to a background character who offers motivational support to the team. I can believe that. She's been removed from all promotional material. Literally all promotional and merchandise. The leaked information then shifts to a First Order meeting with Kylo Ren, who is attempting to ferret out a spy. The meeting is where audiences are introduced to General Pryde, who apparently previously served Palpatine during the Empire. Interesting that we've never seen him before. Following the meeting, Kylo Ren mentions Hux, but then changes the subject quickly after. The leaked information then transitions to the scene on Pisana, where Kylo Ren and Rey force bond. After Rey snaps out of the bond, she and her compatriots are discovered by some stormtroopers. Fortunately, they're able to escape with the help of some locals and Lando Calrissian, of course. The stormtroopers are able to track down Rey and company during the speed chase scene in the TV spots, where obviously we get the jetpack trooper. They fly now! They fly now! They fly now! They're fucking so gay. One of the stormtroopers hits the speeder Rey and company are on and then sends them into a quicksand trap. While in the quicksand, Finn shouts to Rey that he has something to tell her. Obviously like, I love you. But before he can say it, they're sucked down. After they fall below the sand and land in some tunnels, of course they would, there is a bit of humour with C-3PO asking Poe why he didn't ask if he was okay. Poe then questions Finn about what he was going to say, but brushes it off, saying that they can talk about it later. Poe responds accusing Finn of wanting to just speak to Rey alone. Well, yeah, it sounds like that's what he wanted to do. This thread is apparently not picked up in the film moving forward, which makes sense. If they've had reshoots, they would be chopping that out. There will always be a mix match of information moving along. Now, down in the tunnels, they discover the sandworm. However, the source indicates that the sandworm looks more like a viper. The source notes there isn't a battle, but Rey uses her life force to heal it. After being healed, it moves, unveiling an exit. Of course, space fucking Jebus. That's where the whole space Jesus joke came from. That's why I've got space Jebus merch underneath every single video if you want it, because it's a very, very funny. It makes sense. Anyway, that's the joke. Buy some space Jebus merch to support the channel. The designs are really cool. Anyway, the source then indicates that the new droid D-O is discovered on Ochi's ship. The droid was once Ochi's property and apparently been abused pretty bad. BB-8 is the one who discovers and reboots him. Regarding Chewbacca's capture, the source details that Chewbacca goes out to search for Rey but is captured by 2 troopers that might have been Knights of Ren. Finn discovers that Chewbacca has been captured after he sees him being escorted in cuffs onto a transport. How is he captured? Seriously, he's a gigantic beast. Ripping people's, like, they're renowned for ripping people's arms off. How do they get captured? I just don't understand it. The race, like, genuinely, how does that race constantly get captured? I've never understood it. It doesn't make any sense. It's like they're just perpetually oppressed willingly. Seriously? Anyway, the source confirms that Rey will slice Kylo Ren's TIE wing off during the flip sequence. I can believe that. They also detail that Kylo Ren pushes the transport Rey thinks Chewie is on away to push Rey's limits. The entrance of Zori Bliss is apparently hostile. She repeatedly threatens Poe and notes that the price on his head would recoup her losses. Of course she does. That's bound to have... Yeah, of course. Why not? During the memory hack sequence, C-3PO takes some shots at R2-D2 when it's mentioned that Astromech could restore 3PO's memory. However, 3PO makes it clear he has no confidence in R2's memory banks. After the hack is finished, 3PO translates the Sith dagger before rebooting. However, his old memory is not restored, and there is some humour with 3PO exclaiming that Babu Frick is one of his oldest friends. There is a scene with Zori and Poe reminiscing about the past, and she tells him about the medallion. However, she does try and get him to leave with her, but she does eventually hand over the medallion. And once they come back under attack from the First Order or Final Order, Rey will have a vision when she grabs the Sith dagger in Kylo's quarters on his Star Destroyer. She sees Ochi attacking and killing her parents in a city setting not on Jakku. They are apparently killed because they refuse to tell Ochi where Rey is. Ochi was apparently sent to retrieve Rey, not kill her. The source indicates this is not revealed until the end of the film. General Hux helps the Resistance escape Kylo Ren's Star Destroyer. He asks Poe to shoot him in the arm, but Poe shoots him in the leg instead. Hux explains he doesn't care about the First Order winning, but only wants Kylo Ren to lose. I guess, yeah, sure. Petulant children now are in the First Order. After the Resistance heroes escape, Hux is executed by General Pride for his betrayal. Lame. The source indicates the location of the Death Star wreckage is referred to as Endor. They tell Jedipaxis it is called out as Endor. Not the Forest Moon, though. It still seemed a bit debatable. We see Ewoks looking skyward during the planetary celebration, but not during the Endor sequence. Okay, interesting. Jana's backstory is revealed on Endor. She and her team are apparently ex-First Order troopers who mutinied when they were ordered to fire on civilians. Of course. Rey then travels to the Death Star wreckage on a water skiff she takes. She disobeys the advice to wait until dark when the tides die down. Instead, she takes off right away. We've seen a bit of that in the trailer, I think. I'm fairly certain we've seen that in the trailer. Jedipaxis indicates his sources tell him that while on the Death Star, Rey interacts with the dark vision of herself after touching the Wayfinder. The Dark Rey then easily defeats Rey in a lightsaber duel, noting she could be much more powerful if she submitted to the dark side. I don't think she doesn't give a shit either way, does she, surely? So what's the point? All of this story is kind of pointless, really. You're dealing with a character that doesn't really care anyway. She never seemed to really care. The source indicates that Rey is snapped out of the vision by Leia. Paxis relays they claim that right after that moment we skip to her weakened being led out on the command room back at the base, and someone comments that it will take everything she has left to reach her son. What? Okay. During the battle sequence with Kylo Ren on the Death Star, Rey seems to be letting anger take control of her, and she even force pushes Finn and Jana out of the battle zone. In order for Rey to gain the upper hand on Kylo Ren, the source indicates that Leia's final word is Ben. It's enough to distract him to allow Rey to stab him in the gut. However, she quickly heals him. Whatever. Again, Space Jebus, for God's sake. This source then confirms that Han Solo will appear in the film. However, they note not a Force ghost. It's as if he's standing there alive again. Apparently Han Solo gives Kylo some words of encouragement that mirror their conversation from The Force Awakens. Well, it didn't work then. Why would it work now? The source explains that the I know what I have to do, but don't know if I have the strength to do it line is included. In fact, Kylo Ren even holds the lightsaber in the same spot, but this time he tosses it into the Death Star wreckage. Of course. Rey returns to Ahch-To and attempts to toss a lightsaber into the ruins of a wrecked TIE. She used to travel there, however, Luke appears and says that the lightsaber shouldn't be destroyed. Okay. On Ahch-To, Jedi Paxis indicates that a number of the young Luke Leia scenes are included. His source tells him, style-wise, it almost looks like a droid projection. The content is that it's Leia's last training session and she's sparring with Luke, but he mentions she stops and quits being a Jedi because she had a vision of her son's fall to the dark side and death. Jedi Paxis source also confirms that both Luke and Leia know that Rey is a Palpatine, but choose to train her anyways. This retroactive stuff is just pants. Rey then leaves Exegol and transmits the path to Exegol to the Resistance. However, she does so in Luke's old X-Wing, which causes some initial confusion, of course. While Rey transmits the path, the Resistance apparently still doesn't have enough data to get there. Finn discovers that D.O. knows the way and the Resistance set off after Rey. Lando leaves the Millennium Falcon to get reinforcements. So after arriving on Exegol, Rey meets Zero Resistance and encounters the Sith throne. Palpatine emerges on his mechanical arm and reveals to Rey everything to her, including that the assassin was meant to retrieve her, never to kill her. After Palpatine reveals this information, they are surrounded by hundreds, if not thousands, of Palpatine's acolytes. He then attempts to goad her into killing him, while also noting that she could become Empress Palpatine and take control of the fleet. Kylo Ren, who is now once again Ben Solo, of course he is, also enters Exegol. However, he gets his ass handed to him by the Knights of Ren. The source confirms that Rey initiates a bond with him and gives him Leia's lightsaber. Palpatine then comments about their bond before sucking their life to restore his. Apparently his white eyes turn into yellow-orange of the Sith. Now this is something which is confirmed by the British Board of Film Classification about a vampiric life-sucking scene. That is confirmed. It's insanity. So that's why I'm covering this stuff. The source notes that the signal to control the Armada is not being bounced around impossible to stop. Instead, the Resistance forces head straight to the flagship. The source notes they were disappointed by the Sith troopers, describing them as no better than the average stormtroopers by the original trilogy. Oh my god! However, they noted that due to their sheer numbers, they are overwhelming the Resistance landing party. That's pathetic. Why introduce new things that are just going to be crap anyway? The Resistance ships in the strikes are also being overwhelmed by the sheer number of the Final Order ships. Poe begins to apologise, but he is cut off when Lando arrives. With the arrival of reinforcements, Finn and Jannah attempt a suicide mission to toss grenades into a hatch that leads to the signal transmitter. Their ploy works. The source also confirms that upon the arrival of the new Resistance forces, Palpatine laughs and lightning storms a good chunk of the fleet out of the sky. Even Poe's X-Wing is shut off for a good bit, so like bloody EMP. Anyway, it continues. The source confirms that upon arrival of the new Resistance foe, Palpatine laughs. Jedi Paxis then details that his source confirms that Palpatine throws Ben into a ravine, claiming that he's the last in the Skywalker line. The source also confirms that Rey hears voices such as Yoda, Luke, Leia, Mace Windu, and others. These voices apparently give her strength to stand up. As she stands up, Palpatine attempts to lightning attack her, but she blocks it with one of her lightsabers. They appear to be at a stalemate before Rey pulls up her second lightsaber, forming an X that allows her to deflect the lightning back at him. Of course it does. Palpatine then disintegrates and explodes. Fuck off. His death and destruction causes the arena to crumble and apparently kills Rey. Ben is not dead, but climbs out of the ravine. Upon seeing Rey, he uses the Force healing trick to give his life for her. He saves Rey, but it drains his life force. Oh, fucking bow down to God, Rey. The source then claims that's a weird fanfic moment where they kiss and he dies. That's pathetic. Oh my god! Anyway, during the celebration scene, Chewbacca receives a medal from Maz Kanata. Poe attempts to woo Zori, but she shakes her head. Blah, 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 blah. The source indicates that there really isn't an explanation on how Palpatine survived Return of the Jedi. It's pretty ambiguous. He's not really alive. It's pretty horrific in that he's basically a corpse puppet on some sort of rigging, but he's able to speak through the body via his spirit. He's also all the souls of the past Sith in the body. Eventually manages to restore life to the body, though I can't recall if they directly mentioned how the body was still intact, but it was a sort of horror mad scientist lab, so it might not be his original. This is just ridiculous. So yeah, who's the most powerful Jedi in the world? Rey is! Rey is! Sorry, long video. What did you think? Let me know down below in the comments. I think this is trash. There is some validity behind this. So, anyway, love to know your thoughts. Hit subscribe if you're new here. I've been Mr. H. Take care.